What? My name is who? My name is Dyl Talks Sports. Let's get it. This is Dyl Talks Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy again. This is Dyl Talks Sports. We're back with another episode. This is going to be a quicker episode. Just kind of wanted to get on here and talk about Wimbledon and then the British Open that's coming up this weekend, and give a little bit of breakdown of the Summer League that I've been seeing and kind of all that kind of stuff, and just kind of go from there. And hope you guys love the content. Been trying to put out as much as I can, man. Got a lot going on mentally as well as physically that I'm trying to get through, and I don't know where I'd be without y'all. So I'm just happy to be here, and hopefully this video can make your day better, just like it made my day better. So let's jump right into Wimbledon. The winner on the men's side was Jannik Sinner, and the winner on the women's side was Iga Swiatek. Congrats to both champs, really good champs. Sinner, after his atrocious loss to Alcaraz at the French Open, choking the 2-0 lead and having that big lead that he had, and then just throwing it all away and losing. That had to be tough to get over, and I completely understand. But Sinner showed a lot of resolve and a lot of hard-headedness this tournament with getting the win and being able to beat Alcaraz and get over that hurdle, especially after Alcaraz won set one. But most of the men's side was dominated just by the youth, Alcaraz and Sinner. I don't know how many sets Sinner dropped. I don't think it was very many. And Alcaraz, same way, he was dominating, start to finish. I thought this would be another opportunity for Djokovic to get another major, but just ran into Sinner. And if you told me that Sinner was playing Djokovic the way he played Dimitrov, I think he gets swept 3-0. But he got bailed out with Dimitrov WDing because I think he truly goes on to lose that and probably isn't in the final. But you know what? It's better to be lucky than good sometimes, and that's what it seems like it happened here. So, congrats to him on doing that. But Alcaraz, and Sinner, they just seem like the two new school players that are going to carry things. Taylor Fritz got some talent. Tiafoe's got some talent. Medvedev, of course. Rublev, a couple of those boys, and Zverev, all them. But it just seems, that Sinner and Alcaraz are on a completely different level of talent, and, that's good to see. So, excited for the U.S. Open. I think it's going to be another chance for at least Djokovic to get that coveted 25th title and be on his own in terms of, amount of majors. So, we'll see there. But on the women's side, really, congrats to Iga Swiatek. I know it was her first Wimbledon win. She's had a decent career, solid career, major champion winner multiple times, and done all that. And, it's finally good to see her getting over the hump. I think she went through a little lull there where she was a little injured and kind of not really feeling the game of tennis. But, it kind of seems like she came back and is really motivated and ready to do it, ready to go and win some more. So, she went against Amanda Anisimov from America in the final. Didn't seem to work out too well for her, but I think the women's side, now more than ever is really open to, a lot of multiple-time champions. I don't think there's going to be one dominant player. If you're going to look at who's going to have the most majors when it's all said and done, I'd probably go Sabalenka just based on her talent and her, her strength and her skill level. But it's a whole different tournament, a whole different side now with Serena gone, and just the thought of Serena and how dominant she was and kind of going from there. So, we'll see what happens with that and we'll move forward with that. And, I'm really excited to kind of see, where things go, especially on that side. But Wimbledon was great this year. There was actually a lot of upsets and, parity that I was really excited about to see that, I don't feel like it's been there in recent years. So, great to see that. And for the Open Championship, let's just dive right into it. The golf. I want to take a preface or a sidetrack to what I was talking about with, happiness. Scotty Scheffler, is going viral on the news these days for saying that he doesn't get fulfillment from, winning these golf tournaments and doing all this stuff and doing everything like that. And, I think that's a really hard realization to come to as a man. And I think, if you ask a lot of pro athletes, I would say that they're less fulfilled than, people that aren't making as much money as they're making or doing this and living all their dreams and stuff. And I think it comes down to the point of, when you're making that much money, it's like, when is enough? And you're making too much money that you're always striving for more money and you're always expected to do this or expected to do that this way or that way or do things how people imagine you and do that. And, I think what Scotty's trying to say is, I'm extremely blessed and grateful for this opportunity to play golf and, travel the world. But, it takes a lot. It takes a toll on a person, to play at a high level all this time. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, not just physically, but mentally, all that kind of stuff. So, people can say what they want about that and, oh, well, I'd love to trade place with him and see how fulfilled I am and this and that. I don't think he was saying it as, as a burden, as, oh, this is a bad thing that I'm not fulfilled. I think he's being honest with, a lot of fulfillment comes from, at least myself personally, God, close relationship with your family, your friends, hopefully you have a couple kids, wife and kids, that type of stuff brings fulfillment, real actual stuff that is going to bring you value. Money is great and you can do whatever you want with money, and I'm not saying we don't need it, but you ask a lot of pro athletes, a lot of really wealthy people, if they're happy or fulfilled. And I would argue more than enough say no, more than you would think, because of everything going on. And I'm really happy that Scotty has a voice and came out, and I'm glad to see the generation of young men that we kind of are in the Gen Z or whatever generation I'm in. I don't even know, but actually talk about our mental health and talk about what we go through on a daily basis, because I don't think it's talked about enough. I really don't. I think we have a lot of real struggle, and of course we're brushed to the side because we're acting like everything's fine and everything's, oh, you're a man, suck it up, blah blah blah. But it's not that. It's not that at all, man. I got a lot of happiness and a lot of love for a lot of people. It's just, why does it seem like good people get fucked in the end and bad people win? I don't know. And you know what? All I got to say is be confident, man. Continue to push yourself forward, chase your dreams, believe in yourself, and everything will come to you. I promise it. Here's my example. Be Confident is my brand. Start off as merch enterprises, but I think we're moving to Dynasty Partners. Just better, kind of on the cutting edge of non-endocrine disrupting clothing for the gym, more specifically just everyday wear, because most stuff we wear is really bad for our health, and we don't discuss that. But, that's going to be another video. I don't want to go on a whole tangent about this and kind of spew, my mental whatever. We'll get to that another time. But the British Open, I think, it's the last major of the year. Of course, Rory's got some chances, but I just think, Rory does something to me. He just seems like a whiner, and he doesn't seem like he's going to be there, and I'm not happy with that. So I'd like to say Scotty. Of course, you like to say Scotty. Of course, you have Brooks up there. Of course, you have Bryson. All the top ones. But I don't know if this is going to be another tournament where a dude like JJ Spawn wins. Could be. It'd be awesome. Congrats again to JJ Spawn winning that U.S. Open a few weeks back. It's amazing and it's awesome. So I don't know. I want to say it's going to be a favorite, but I'm going to go with a smaller dude. So none of the Bryson, Scotty, Schauffele, DeChambeau, all them boys. We'll see what happens. I'm really excited for a great tournament and kind of see what happens there. And then, for the Summer League, I've been watching a little bit of Summer League. I see the Hornets 3-0. Con Neipel and Liam McNeely playing really good for them and showing kind of talent level they have. I saw VJ Edgecombe in his first Summer League game, played amazing, played great for the 76ers. I think he especially is one that, when you come from the mud, you don't come from much. You got a lot to look forward to and a lot to work for, and I think he's one of those that wants to really push forward and really do that to help him out. So, congrats to VJ Edgecombe. Love to see what you're doing. Keep working, man. Hope the best for you and hope the grind. And then, Cooper Flagg's first game wasn't, great, 5 for 21, but shot well inside the paint, did everything else well, which really matters. His downside always has been low-key his shooting, and he didn't shoot that well in a game. It happens. I mean, he's not a good shooter. He doesn't shoot well in a game. It happens. So, I think with him, after I saw game 2, I think he went 10 for 21 in that one, played a lot better, kind of feeling the floor. It's just going to come down to his jumper. It's a jumper on, jumper off some days. But everything else he does, he does everything else really well. Is he a master of none? Maybe. But can he do everything? Yeah, he can. But, I just think it's going to be interesting to kind of see where he goes and kind of develops and what happens there. I mean, I've heard rumors that LeBron might come to Dallas or whatever, and I hope he doesn't, because I think that would be worst case scenario for Dallas and for Kyrie and for Cooper Flag and for AD, especially after the fact that you just gave Luka to the Lakers and you're going to trade for LeBron, and LeBron has 1 year left, maybe 2 if good, and Luka has 10 to 15. I don't know, man. I still don't understand what their ideas were in that whole issue or whole deal. It happens. I'm not gonna say one way or the other, but it happened, and that's how you go. So, somebody's been great. I think it shows a lot of young people getting the opportunity that they might not have anywhere else, and even them being out there is better than a lot of people can say, and it's really impressive no matter what happens. And I just want to shout out all them for trying to chase after their dreams and doing everything they can, because that's what it comes down to, man, is wanting to chase your dream, and someone give me the opportunity to do that. So excited for the NBA to start, excited for the NFL to start. I'm really excited for all that to start. Just kind of been here alone in my thoughts for a minute now, but this is Dyl Talks Sports, man, and we are the best show on YouTube and the best sports talk show on YouTube, and that's never been a question, because this is Dyl Talks Sports. But no, I appreciate everyone joining along and being here for the journey. I just want to say God bless to all of you, and keep chasing your dreams and keep following your dreams, and you can do anything. All right, y'all. Deuces.